Saya ucapkan tahniah kepada Suruhanjaya Security yang dapat menyelenggarakan satu sidang pelaburan ASEAN yang akan memberikan suatu lonjakan kepada kefahaman kita dan ketersediaan kita dalam menghadapi kemelut ekonomi semasa dan memberikan rangka yang lebih positif harapan dan hala tuju kita. Tentunya kita kegusar dengan perkembangan semasa, tetapi semangat ASEAN itu terlalu kukuh. Dalam perbincangan saya dengan ketua-ketua ASEAN, Perdana Menteri Lawrence di Singapura, Tuanku Sultan Brunei, Presiden Prabowo, Bombo Marcos, Pan Kengton, Thailand, Pan Min Vietnam umpamanya, ada semangat untuk meningkatkan kerjasama perdagangan antara negara-negara ASEAN dan melonjakkan kekuatan ekonomi kita. Now, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the global trading system is under intense strain, more so than at any point in recent memory. Last week, the United States unveiled its latest turn towards economic nationalism, sweeping tariffs on all imports, being part and parcel of what has been dubbed as Trump tariffs against the rest of the world. Malaysia's trade with the United States has long been a model of mutual gain. Our exports support not just growth here, but high-quality jobs across the United States. This commercial relationship has served both countries well, but these measures may end up harming all. Yet, we do not believe in megaphone diplomacy. As part of our soft diplomacy of quiet engagement, and I built this consensus among ASEAN leaders, we will be dispatching, together with our colleagues in ASEAN, our officials in Washington to begin the process of dialogue. There may be limited room to revisit the underlying intent, but there is still scope for adjusting the policy's implementation. In the meantime, Malaysia will adapt as we always have. Winds may shift, but we do not drift. Our trade diversification strategy is already gathering space. Our cohesiveness within ASEAN believes that the intra-trade amongst ASEAN, investments and joint collaboration must be further enhanced. While we intend to remain steadfast trade partners with the United States, we will in tandem do whatever it takes to safeguard our economic interests. This includes engaging proactively with the United States towards achieving a mutually beneficial outcome and at the same time diversifying our ties with all major trade markets across the EU, Asia, Middle East, Africa, and particularly China, Korea, and Japan. Now, these efforts are not occurring in a vacuum. They unfold against a backdrop of mounting uncertainty, one that transcends any single country's policy choices. Globalization, once assumed to be forging ahead, now appears to be in retreat. Protectionism is resurgent. Supply chains are being reconfigured, and multilateralism is increasingly spoken of in the past tense. In this environment, ASEAN stands out as a beacon of hope and positivity. We are still broadly committed to openness, cooperation, and institutional continuity. Our total trade in goods stands at $3.5 trillion. Of course, this figure is not guaranteed. While the barrage of tariffs sweeping across the world in fast and furious fashion, we are witnessing the fraying of the global order. Therefore, ASEAN must rely more on itself. This means strengthening inter-ASEAN trade. We must move beyond rhetoric to execution. Tariff liberalization within the region is largely complete, but regulatory alignment, cross-border logistics, digital connectivity remain unfinished business. It also means safeguarding and expanding our external linkages. Our dialogue and sectoral partners span 6 continents. Few regional blocs can claim such a network. As chair this year, Malaysia will prioritize the revitalization of strategic platforms such as the ASEAN Plus 3 as mechanisms for economic resilience. Our vision for ASEAN is a prosperous, sustainable, and inclusive region. This will require political will, serious capital, fortitude, and a strong dose of good fortune. It will also require swift progress in initiatives at the sub-regional level. A key example in this is the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, unprecedented, and it shows the will, courage, commitment of leaders of both countries to decide on policies on a win-win basis and in interest not only of Johor or Malaysia and Singapore, but in the region. While this will not be a silver bullet, it is nevertheless a significant and an unprecedented step. By lowering barriers and coordinating policy between these 2 closely linked economies, we create a demonstration effect, a case study in cross-border economic logic. Malaysia is also committed to invest in developing our border areas, such as in the northern peninsula with Thailand and Sabah and Sarawak border with Kalimantan, to promote economic activities for the benefit of people in both sides of the border, covering Indonesia, Brunei, and the Philippines. Resilience also requires investment in infrastructure that can weather storms, both literal and financial. Our Southeast Asian neighbors are especially prone to natural disasters. Furthermore, the effects of climate change have become more insidious. Our capacity to manage adverse weather events, safeguard critical infrastructure, and protect vulnerable communities must be significantly improved. Green growth is no longer a matter of environmental virtue, but a strategic economic necessity. Technologies such as carbon capture, circular production models, and low-emission innovations are not peripheral experiments. Indeed, they are poised to define the industrial landscape of the coming decade. And then there is the digital economy, a space of both great promise and great inequality. The region's digital transformation is well underway, but uneven. Meantime, the trajectory of artificial intelligence is surging ahead with the speed of lightning. If this asymmetrical digital progress is left unchecked, it risks deepening divides. Investments in digital literacy, infrastructure, empowerment, and governance must go hand in hand. Meanwhile, the small and medium-sized enterprises, which form the bulk of our employment base, yet are often the most exposed to shocks and the least equipped to respond. Compliance with global sustainability standards is daunting for a company of, say, 5 people. That's why Malaysia, with the support of our partners, is launching the ASEAN Simplified ESG Disclosure Guide for SMEs. This is a practical tool to help small businesses take their first step towards more sustainable and transparent operations. It is initiatives like this, concrete and grounded, that will decide whether our vision for ASEAN becomes a reality or fades into a footnote of history. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at times like this, there is a temptation to retreat into nostalgia or fatalism, to assume that the international order is beyond repair, or that regional cooperation is too slow to matter. But ASEAN has always been a creature of evolution, not revolution. Its strength lies not in drama, but in durability. Durability. Our nearly 6 decades, now over 6 decades, it has withstood wars, crises, coup, and still managed to inch forward, often frustratingly, but forward nonetheless. Today, even more pertinent than ever, we must pursue greater economic integration in ASEAN. During this week's ASEAN Finance Track, as you will hear of various efforts to strengthen our economic cooperation. These include the ASEAN Power Grid. We're engaging with the private sector investors and also MDBs like the ADB and the World Bank on financing projects to transmit electricity from Vietnam to Kelantan by submarine cables and on to Singapore via on-land transmission lines. Expanding ASEAN payment connectivity. We currently enjoy digital payment connectivity between Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand. Later today, we launch extending the payment linkage to between Malaysia and Cambodia with the ambition to cover the other nations in ASEAN. This will help promote intra-ASEAN trade and tourism, promoting greater economic integration to enable businesses to better leverage on ASEAN as a market to further grow regional champions in sectors including financial services, energy, healthcare, tourism, telecommunications, and logistics. Now, the Trump tariffs are not the first challenge to multilateralism, nor will they be the last. But if ASEAN can hold its nerve, staying open, pragmatic, and cohesive, it may yet be among the last believers in a world that works better when it works together. With that, I'm pleased to launch the ASEAN Simplified ESG Disclosure Guide for SMEs in supply chains. Terima kasih. Thank you. Saya.